Okay, so, ladies and gentlemen, our mini lesson started, so we're nice and quiet. Remember, can somebody remind me what makes our mini lesson successful? What do you have to do and what do I have to do? Jack, what do you have to do? Listen, answer, and learn, okay? What is something that I have to do? Lita, what do I have to do?
You have to teach you.
I have to teach you, right? And so for me to be able to teach you, remember, we can't have talking, right? Only when I say turn and talk to your neighbor or if I ask you to raise your hand, okay? So make sure that we don't have to do any redirection so we can be done in less than 10 minutes today, okay? So right now I want you to travel with me, okay? Just in our brains and travel back to the end of last trimester, okay? You wrote a fiction narrative, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and it was, you had characters, right? We had round characters. Okay, I just want you to think about them. Think about your characters that you had, if you can remember. Or think about a character in a story that you've read recently. Okay, just think about those characters. Okay, so those characters, whether you wrote about them or you read them, or you read about them, right? They develop over time. So the author doesn't come out and like grab you by the head and say, hey, this is this character, this is all about, this is what they're about, right? They develop over time. The same can be said for topics in nonfiction chapter books, okay? In these complex texts, okay, that we're reading, the central idea or the characters, whatever this is about, is going to develop over time. And so that's important to remember. So we can draw connections with our narratives, with our fiction, and our nonfiction, okay? So what I want to teach you today is that in complicated nonfiction texts, just like this one that we're reading together, and like the ones that you're reading in your reading groups, because they're all complex texts, okay? No matter how long they are or how short they are, those are all complex texts, okay? Just like in complicated stories, central ideas only reveal themselves over time. So you might have an idea of what the central idea of your story is or what a Fast Food Nation is about, okay? But we're going to add to it each day. And so that's really important. Therefore, right, we have to be alert to new ideas. So right here, okay, we're going to rethink central ideas in light of new information. And just like our I can statement says, I can be alert to new details and use them to rethink my initial ideas around the central idea. Okay? So make sure that you're ready with that evidence. So can anybody remind me on Thursday, please raise your hand. On Thursday, I showed you some pictures. Does anybody remember what they were, Lucci?
Like forks and spoons.
Yes, we talked about silverware, and then what was our second set? What was our second set? Yeah, it was these guys, right? And we decided together that we came up with a central idea for these pictures, right? And so I'm gonna show you some more today, and we're gonna be on alert, right, for how we can add to our central idea. So our central idea was that animal parents take care of their babies, right? Animal parents take care of their babies. That's what we decided on. So eyes up here. Okay, I knew somebody said like they're all from Africa, right? But that might be a central idea. But we, I think when we put it on, was that these are animal. Remember, we're not talking. Devin, please sit up. Sit up. Okay, that animal parents take care of the babies. Now I'm going to show you another set of photos, and I want you to think about how we can add to our central idea. Okay, because it might not fit with our original one. Okay, so here's the original. And now here's the second one. Okay? Animal parents taking care of their babies isn't really enough anymore. Okay? It's not enough anymore. So we have to be alert now and think how these new pictures, how do we take them into account? So just pretend this is like new information. It's like a new chapter. Chapter 1, Chapter 2. And so rather than just coming up with a new central idea, I want you to turn and talk to your partner here for like 30 seconds and try and come up, right? Try with your partner. What do these new details suggest? How could you revise the central idea, okay, to incorporate our new chapter, our new details? Go. Okay.
That's not weird at all.
Okay, come whole group in 3, voices off 2 and 1. Okay, so I've heard some things like animal adoption, right? Then maybe they're adoptive parents, so it still kind of fits. I was also hearing things that like they're taking care of other animals, right? Animals taking care of animals.
Yeah, it's heard that.
And so I'm going to try and grab everything that we talked about and let's come up with a new central idea. So for me, what I was thinking, right? For me, hold on guys, do we need to redirect? Okay, let's do our job so our mini lesson stays mini. So for me, what I'm thinking is that, like, instead it's showing animals caring for babies who are not their own. So maybe a revised central idea could be something like some animals have nurturing, natural nurturing instincts. Okay, because these are all animals who are nurturing a smaller animal, right, or like a younger animal that doesn't have to necessarily be their own. So do you see, eyes up here, how we revised our thinking from Thursday to now fit with our new information? And so that's what good readers do. Good readers rethink their central ideas as they develop over a text. We say that a lot, like explain how the central idea develops over a text, right? And so this, now we're giving you a strategy to examine it. So we're going to do this, right? Central ideas often reveal themselves over time. Just like how characters don't jump out and say, and like smack you in the face and say, hey, I like this, or I'm all about this, okay? Central ideas don't, the authors are going to just say, hey, kiddo, pay attention. I'm telling you the central idea. You have to figure it out, okay? So readers, what we're going to do today is I'm going to read for you a little section from Fast Food Nation from pages 72 and 73. And we're going to think about our central ideas. Anybody remember what our central idea was from Thursday? It's been a while. You want me to just remind you? Okay, I'll give you a hint. It's about kids and Coca-Cola. Right? We kind of are starting to remember. McDonald's and selling Coke to kids. Right? Coca-Cola to kids.
So what?
Selling Coca-Cola to kids. Yeah, okay, so eyes up here. I'm going to remind us, because I can hear you talking with your neighbors on tap. Okay, we jotted down a possible central idea from Fast Food Nation. The fast food companies market to kids to make more money. Okay, they market to kids to make more money. So I want you to have that in your brain. Really quick, whisper that to your neighbor. Whisper it to your neighbor. Whisper it to your neighbor. Fast food companies market to kids to make more money. Thank you, Jack. Okay, so I want you to be on alert. Logan, you're not doing your job. I want you to be on alert for new details and how can we add to it? Because we're not going to talk about little kids in this, and they're not going to mention Coca-Cola. Okay, so how can we add to our thinking? The nation has about 1 million migrant farm workers and about 3.5 million fast food workers. Although picking strawberries is orders of magnitude more difficult than cooking hamburgers, both jobs are now filled by people who are generally young, unskilled, and willing to work long hours for low pay. Moreover, great transition word, the turnover rates for both jobs are among the highest in the American economy. That means that people get fired, they leave those jobs really quick. Okay? The annual turnover rate in the fast food industry is now about 300 to 400%. The typical fast food worker quits or is fired every 3 to 4 months. That would mean every trimester, every single one of your teachers is new. Okay? So like every trimester you have a new teacher in each subject. Okay? The fast food industry pays the minimum wage to a higher proportion of its workers, meaning they pay less than a lot of people. Like I don't make minimum wage, like teachers don't make minimum wage, we make more than that. Right? But the fast food industry pays the minimum wage to a higher proportion of its workers than any other American industry. I mean, that's the least amount they can pay somebody. Okay? Consequently, a low minimum wage has long been a crucial part of the fast food industry's business plan. Okay, so now, with this new information about minimum wage, about young, unskilled workers, I want you to, instead of jotting down a brand new central idea, how can we incorporate these new details? Okay? And so, let this information lead you to rethink the central idea that you've identified, right? That they take advantage or fast food companies market to kids, right? To make more money. Turn and talk to your neighbor. How do these new details fit? How can we revise our central idea? Go. Sit down and talk to her. You don't need to worry about that. I'll tell you when to stop it. Okay, then just bend down and talk to Lita. it's for multiple things. Okay, I'm hearing. Okay, why? Okay, so what are they going to do? Voice. No, this information. I love sharing you background knowledge, but just this information, how do we add what we know? So they're trying to make money. What else?
No,
they are.
Right?
Get out of the camera.
Okay. Okay, voices off in 3, 2, and 1. Okay, so I was able to kind of listen in a lot of conversations. I heard some things about how they're targeting young people for lots of different things, for jobs, not just for marketing, but they're targeting them for jobs as well. I heard over here that they care about themselves. Just this company just cares about themselves, Logan, and that they want to make as much money as possible. So taking all of the details that you noticed, Logan, I would say our new central idea is that McDonald's, right, is willing to take advantage of whoever they need to, right, of young people, of whoever, to make as much money as possible, right? So we took what we had about them targeting young people, and now we flushed it out a little bit more, okay? So that is what you're going to do today. So I heard you saying a lot of great things. Your job today, right, is to hold on to your initial ideas, but very loosely, okay? Hold on loosely to that central idea and add to it, okay? And so before you head off to read today, I want you to get with your group. You're going to come up with how much you're going to read, and then I have an exit ticket for you. I'm going to explain in just a moment, okay? But I want you to be thinking about that central idea. What should you have with you when you're in reading group? Thank you. And why do we have to have our notebooks out? Yes, our reading log. What are some strategies that we could be using in our reading log? Yes, can someone read one for me, Jack? What's one?
Orient yourself, generally questions and ideas.
Okay, and then what should we ask ourselves? If we have a question, what should we ask ourselves? Or should we try and answer it? Yeah. So what, right? We should ask, so what? What else should we be doing, Trista? I should only hear Trista's voice right now.
Notice fascinating parts and move them over.
Yes, right? That's where our so what comes in too. What else, Abby?
Determine possible scenarios.
Yes, and last one, Kaden. Yes, okay, add to it. All right, go off to your groups, go.